Again, my name's Ariana Kane. I'm out of Calgary, Alberta. I'm one of the sales reps with Humania, and I've been licensed in the industry since like 2004 and securities licensed. And really, it's because I went to a corporate overview, and someone said, "Hey, come learn how money works." And I learned more in 1 hour than anyone had ever shared with me in my life. And I thought, how is this possible that we are not taught these things in university? I went to university, and I just kind of wanted to be part of that crusade and just kind of teaching people the rules of the money game. And so I just want to say to you guys, if nobody has told you the last few days that what you do matters, let me tell you that what you do matters. And so getting better at it matters. And so being here and being a part of these things, kudos to you, because our job is just to get ourselves in positions where we have the best shot at having kind of aha moments or paradigm shifts or remembering things where they can really make sense to make a big impact in people's lives. So one of the tools where you guys will need in your tool belt is this insurance without medical exam. When you guys have, kind of declines and hard to insure. Just so you know, we will be sending you a CE credit for your time with us today. There'll be probably a little quiz sent to you by Annie. You have to get a passing mark of 60, and before you're filled with anxiety about that, just know, if I do my job well, this should be no problem for you. But even if you don't, you get another chance to get it right, and then a CE credit will be sent to you. So I had a great mentor once tell me that a great presentation, he said, you got to tell them what you're going to tell them, and then tell them, and then tell them what you told them, right? Repetition is the mother of learning. So we're just going to talk about some reasons for decline, the premium categories that are specific to this particular product, 10 benefits, like what else are we doing here? If not, what's in it for me and how do I benefit from this? That's both for you and for me to share with you and for you to share with the clients. A little bit of a product description, and if we have time, some sales ideas, but I think that it's kind of self-explanatory with this product when the sales ideas would come for you. So reasons for being declined. I'm sure that a lot of you probably know that this seems to be happening more and more these days, as they kind of search back in your clients' histories. But there's a few reasons. There's alcohol and drug use. There can be driving record issues, extreme sports, and foreign travel. And these are the ones aside from the typical. We always just think of kind of health reasons that people might be declined, but there's a whole bunch of other reasons, and these would fall under the category of lifestyle. And it's something that can often be shocking to you and to the client because they didn't necessarily think of it when they think they're in, people always go, no, I'm good. I'm generally good health, right? But these things come up, especially with a history of any of these things. So, and then there's obviously the health reasons. People for cancer, stroke, MS, a family history is a big reason that people might get declined. Body mass index, right? Their cholesterol, hypertension, excess weight. And also a big one, especially kind of during the pandemic, and now we're just kind of starting to come out of that, is just waiting. Dang it all, just waiting for tests, waiting for surgeries, and it's delaying or deferring people's ability to get any type of insurance. And when they need it kind of now, that becomes a problem. So we have 3 different premium categories in this product. So on the one-page application, and if you guys are looking for the domain, all of these web-based products are right on humania.ca under representatives. However, each of them have their own domain. So the domain for this, which we'll share, is withoutmedicalexam.ca. Withoutmedicalexam.ca. And just a little history lesson, Humania is one of the very first ever to come out with a non-medical product, which is why it doesn't have some fancy name. It's just called insurance without medical exam, so that it's really easy for people. And on that one-page application, there are 6 eligibility questions, which we'll go through, just 6. And those are the eligibility questions. After that, there's a few health questions, I think 11. And each one of those are only there to help determine now that you're eligible, they're there to determine whether you are gold, silver, or bronze in these categories. So, but really what I love is that every problem has a solution. I believe with us, there's a quote from Thomas Edison that says, when you've exhausted all possibilities, remember this, you haven't. And so I just say, if you guys have not come through Humania's platform or this product yet, then you have not exhausted all your possibilities, because it's really amazing how many people are able to get through this product and have something in their hands to solve a problem for families. the first category is our gold premium. For you guys that kind of know what that rating would be, it would be comparative to somewhere in the 160% rating for someone. But people that are really falling in this category are generally people who don't have real health issues. They have more the lifestyle issues that we talked about, drug or alcohol use in the past. Now, the only question they have here is, have you received treatment or been in rehab for drugs or alcohol in the last 2 years? They don't ask if you drink every day. They don't ask if you do drugs every day. They just ask if you've gone to rehab in the last 2 years for that. And for those that may have had that in the recent past 3, 4, 5 years, this is a great product for them because they're still getting declined in for other traditional carriers. If a client has a criminal record, this is a great product for them, because the only question we have is, has this person been imprisoned for more than 48 hours in the last 5 years? So it doesn't ask anything about someone's past. I'm a heart-centered fool, really, and I just love this product too, because I really believe in redemption. And there's so many people who have a history in their lifetime that was like 8, 10, 15 years ago, and now they're married with children in a totally different headspace, and just a different life, and they're needing some sort of redemptive product available to them. There are no questions on employment. Like if you have a high-risk job or work, there's no questions on dangerous sports or driving record. There's no questions on your body mass index, no questions on weight at all. And this would be so those are like the lifestyle issues. And this one would be where people really fall here, is if they're not on medication. They could have a diagnosis of cancer even in the past, but as long as it's been 5 years, they could still fall into our gold premium category. And just anyone that's not been diagnosed with a serious illness. Again, this is more lifestyle issue. The silver premium category, really the number one way that people drop from gold to silver in this category is if people are on prescription medication, because we're not asking what prescription medication you're on. We're not asking any questions, but if you are on prescription medication, it means something's going on. And so they will drop usually from the gold category to the silver. And even a client who's had an episode of depression, but for which there was no hospitalization or no suicidal ideation, they could still possibly land in the silver category in life and in CI. The bronze premium category is our most expensive category. It is our highest risk category in our non-medical space. And all I would say to you guys is, more from a sales standpoint, because I was an advisor for 14 years and I've learned this, you guys get to hold space for the energy of a client meeting. If you guys go in and you think this is kind of a bad news story, that they're bronze premium and have that energy about you, then that's what comes across. But what I want to tell you guys is the bronze premium category in this product is still a good news story. Like, clearly you guys would always go to plan A with a client and get them the best possible thing you could. But when that door has closed and that's no longer an option for you, then having any option at all is still like, yay, this is a good news story. We have a plan B. And now that plan B becomes plan A. And so there's still you can still have high positive energy around this. But the bronze premium category, quite literally in that person's case, is insurance where they wouldn't get insurance otherwise. And so these are people with ulcerative colitis, Crohn's disease, chronic respiratory diseases. If they've had more than one occurrence of cancer, or it's been in the last 5 years of cancer, they can still get some insurance. If they've had a stroke even before the age of 40, or more than one, right? They can still get coverage. It just happens to fall in the bronze premium. And the difference between gold is there is a 12-month pre-existing clause for gold, and there is a 24-month pre-existing clause for silver and bronze. And I'll talk about why that's important and special, and what you may be used to with deferrals, and why we don't do deferrals at all. So another thing to note here, just so you guys know, anxiety seems to be a thing that's come up a lot. A lot of mental illnesses skyrocketed as far as prescriptions for doctors went during the pandemic and post. But the only question we have on our app is, in the past 5 years, have you been diagnosed or advised treatment, therapy, or medication for depression, psychosis, schizophrenia, or bipolar disorders? So I just want to make note there that we don't ask anxiety questions. So too often there's people that have anxiety and it just gets coupled with depression, but they have not been on depression meds. They haven't been diagnosed with depression. And so it's really important that we're able to take that one out and they can answer that with full confidence without it having including anxiety. But if the answer is yes to any of these, just know that they will fall into the bronze premium category. So this slide, I just want you to know that if you go on the application, the one-page app, and you do it and you hit submit with it, all it is gender, age, and smoking status. You answer the eligibility questions and the health questions, and you hit submit. You're not doing anything wrong if you see that the same client with the same information might come up in a different premium category in the different insurance options offered. Insurance without medical exam is one application, one page, but it offers your client 4 different offerings. There is a permanent life up to 50,000, a term life, term 10 and term 20, up to 300,000. And then there's critical illness, up to 100. There'll be a slide on that as well, so you guys can see that. And there's also a disability offering. And this makes us really special because there's not a lot of simplified or guaranteed issue carriers that are offering disability insurance with no medical and no questions other than those. But in this situation, you'll see that he or she's coming up as silver in life insurance categories, coming up as gold for a critical illness policy, but coming up as bronze in disability. And this just goes to show how different those insurance coverages are, because obviously if someone has bipolar or depression, the thing they would be most likely to claim on would be disability. So that would be the highest risk for the carrier, for us. But just know it's possible that the same dang person can have different premium categories, and you're right on track. One of the things we've changed in our this application as well, we were always very competitive in price range when it came to type 1 diabetic, but we weren't as competitive when it came to type 2, and all things are not equal when it comes to diabetes. We know there's a big gap between insulin-dependent type 1 diabetic and people who are running triathlons, and you'd never even look at them and think that they have issues, but they are a type 2 diabetic. And so depending on lifestyle and their body mass index, all that, if they are diabetic and they click that, yes, there is other sub questions that come up where they can paint a better picture for themselves. Now, nobody has to answer those questions. I told you there was no body mass index or weight question. There isn't on the application. However, if your client would like to paint a better picture of themselves in a type 2 diabetic or situation where they're in a really healthy weight range, they can share that information to help their situation. But their situation can't get worse. It just can help them get better. But there's extra questions to help people better fit where they're at. And those are the questions that'll pop up. So I'm just going to pop through that for the sake of time. One of the things we changed and have gotten better in this product is we've increased the disability coverage. There used to just be an income replacement option for up to $2,500 a month, but we realized there was probably a bigger need for that for people that maybe couldn't get disability, but they're self-employed and they absolutely have a bigger need than $2,500 a month. So they've added $2,500 up to $2,500 in debt coverage as well. In this day and age, it's not hard to find people to have debt and mortgages and car payments and all that jazz. So up to $2,500 so that they can combine the two. And again, someone who would otherwise not be insurable for disability can come here and get up to $5,000 a month for disability coverage. A good news story. So let's get to this. Really, the sooner, from a sales standpoint, that you guys get that people, I would like you guys to like me. I want you guys to feel comfortable, but really you don't care about me. You don't care about Humania. You care about your problems. And if we can help you with your problems with your clients, and the same goes for your clients. I'm sure they like you and they want you, but really they don't care about you or your commissions or what you're doing. They care about their own problems. And when you get to be a solution to those problems, suddenly you become this really valuable resource instead of just another sales guy or another sales pitch out there. So benefits are really where we're focusing on. So what are the benefits for you guys and for your clients? This is just kind of a one pager if you want to screenshot that. Having said that, if anyone wants access to these slides, I'm more than happy to share them with Lisa or with IDC, and they can fire those off, or you guys can get in touch with me directly. I'll give you my information at the end. I'm happy to share these slides. So you can review them, because I know that I'm talking a mile a minute. And so you guys don't worry about absorbing it all. You'll have this in your fingertips in no time, should you wish. So let's go to some of the benefits. The first one is, under no circumstances will the file be trialed or transferred to underwriting. This never goes to Medical Information Bureau or the MIB. There's no phone interview. There's no medical report. There's no delay. It is issued instantly. And this is a big deal. There was a guy that we were helping. He was going to the Middle East. He's at the Calgary airport and decided, I feel like I might just need some more insurance. So quite literally on the phone with his advisor, they're able to do this, answer the questions online. It's web-based. He gets an email confirming that he wants it and that the answers are correct, and then instantly gets another email saying this policy is in force, no questions on foreign travel. So that's how easy this can be. And again, never transferred. It's just the app and then confirmation. So this is a big one that I really want to just make sure that you get, as far as even us with some other competitors that you might be used to using more in your practice, in the simplified and guaranteed issue space, where a lot of times you guys will end up going through an application, and a lot of some carriers will say, hey, you could get up to this amount. It's like going to the mall and you see a rack that says up to 70% off. And then you go through that rack and you're like, there's nothing on this rack that's 70% off. So you can get up to a certain amount, but by the time you do an application, they spit you out at the end. They say, hey, your client's actually only good for this amount and a 2-year deferral. And most of us don't really think about deferrals since we wrote the LLQP or our licensing. But there's a big difference between deferral and a 12 or 24-month pre-existing clause. And so a 2-year deferral means no insurance, and we have no deferred clauses. So you either are gold and have a 12-month pre-existing clause, or a 24-month pre-existing clause. And that just means obviously you won't be able to claim on anything that might have already been in the ballpark for you health-wise or anything in the first 2 years. But after that, anything goes. But meanwhile, in those 24 months, anything goes that isn't a pre-existing condition. So if anything happens for any other reason, you're just insured. Like, you have insurance. It's not a deferral. It's a big differentiator between us and some others. And it's not something I think you should take lightly. There is no maximum benefit. Obviously, there's a maximum benefit because the platform itself only has a maximum of 300,000. However, we are not going to tell you what that maximum is for your clients. We're not going to tell you that you can only get 50, you can only get 75 or 150. You go through this app, get a quote with your clients. If they want the full Mac Daddy of the 300,000 on the life or 100,000 on the critical illness, you and your client choose. There's no person that's involved in this process with Humania. It's just you and your client, and they get to choose what they feel is best for themselves. Wow, I just saw a spelling error right there on the top. Ease of ProS. That should say process. Ease of process. That will be changed immediately. Our process is all online. And like I said, I don't really like the saying one-stop shop because it kind of feels cheap, and that's the last thing this product is, but it is kind of a one-stop where you get 4 different coverages offered to someone in a single transaction. The reason this is amazing too is oftentimes what will happen is someone has come to you for, say, life insurance, and they're like, don't talk fancy to me. I just want some life insurance. That's what I need. But what happens is once they've gotten declined and they see that this kind of opportunity of insurance is slipping out of their hands, and you finally offer them this plan B, which is now plan A, and they come to get life insurance, after you hit submit, there's a graph that shows up. It's just they'll see it, and so will you. And even if they want to just come for the life insurance option because that's what they thought they were there for, when they see that they can get a critical illness, for instance, right there underneath the life, they're like, wait a minute, I'm declined everywhere else and I have this thing, but you're telling me that I could get critical illness insurance up to 100 grand. It just is a really great thing because it's not about you trying to do the upsell to them. It's just so obviously right in front of their eyes. And now it's something that you can have a discussion about that they may want and be beneficial for them. There's no signature required. It is an email that's sent to your client. They need to confirm. And when they do, another email immediately is sent saying this policy is in force. You also get the email as an advisor. And then there's an automatic mailing of the physical policy afterward to excuse me, both you and your client. And like we said, it's immediate. It goes into effect right away. We have a very flexible payment method. I think there's just maybe us and maybe SLI that do monthly credit card payments, so they can pay with this by credit card. There's also a place that you can fill in their banking information, but you can pay with a credit card, and you can pay monthly with a credit card. Trust me, this is a major blessing and a major pain, but it has its benefits. And so some of these premiums can be generally higher because they are, say, in the bronze category. And for some that get all sorts of benefits and miles and perks on their credit cards, they may very well want to use that for this at no extra cost. We also are able to get some coverage for unemployed clients. Often people say, well, wait, I thought only employed people could get yours, because the first question says, are you working? One of the questions does say, are you working? But if you say no, all that matters is you'll still fill out all the information. It will still give your client an offering on the life and the CI. It just won't give them an offering on the disability insurance because they're not working and don't have an income that needs to be replaced. And with us, it's a big thing with pending exams. Just know that the only question is, in the past 6 months, did you have any physical or mental symptoms for which you have not seen a doctor? But obviously, if you're waiting for an exam or you're waiting for a surgery, you have seen a doctor about those. And so people can still get insurance with us, even when they might be filled with some nervousness about cancer results or a surgery that's pending. And they're like, I should probably get some insurance. You can get insurance with us, even with those things on the agenda. Dangerous sports. I think this is interesting. We ask no dangerous sports questions, none. So if you have adrenaline junkie clients that, that just this is living to them, we will not necessarily pay out a disability claim for people who continually put themselves in harm's way. So the disability product portion of this will still have general exclusions that are the same of everybody. Like if you did it to yourself, basically, we're not going to pay. However, Humania seems to celebrate adrenaline junkies. We're not going to pay you disability, but if you die doing what you love, Humania is going to pay a death claim on that because there's no questions on it. So you guys will run across people that fall in this category, and just know there's a good news story for them as far as getting coverage. Again, it's all in one place. We offer those 4 different types of coverage on one application. And these are just kind of the descriptions available. Our life is a term 10 and term 20. It's available up until age 80. And so the age of issue would be 70, 18 to 70, because you can still get a term 10. I'm just warning you at that point, don't be shocked by the premiums. They are high. This is a simplified issue for those age brackets. However, it's available. And the permanent life is up to 50,000, but I just want to not minimize the fact that I don't know a lot of other carriers that offer $5,000 for permanent life insurance. And I know this is not some big payday for you guys per se as advisors. However, if we are holistic, heart-centered advisors, there are people who don't even have they're worried about even paying for a funeral. And this is really a great option where it's almost a layaway plan, because the monthly premium is so much more affordable for 5 or 10 or 15,000, to make sure you have something to not put a financial stress on people just to even have a funeral or a concession for people. Critical illness up to 100,000 is paid out to age 55. There is a return of premium on this on our living benefit side that you'll see once you get into the application. There are the premiums for with no return premium and with return premium for those of you who have clients who really love to hedge their bets and go, I know I need this, but dang it all, what if I don't use it? I want my money back. There's options here. And our disability, like I said, you can pair these together and get up to $2,500 a month for both, all on the same application. And I don't really want to get into the sales ideas. You guys get it. There's people that have a marijuana. I mean, what was Martin up to? Martin is type 2 diabetic, and he's got a bad driving record, and he's used cocaine in the past. This paints just a picture for you of what he'd be able to get, and some premiums there. Also, for him to get, he'd be considered gold in life insurance, 300,000, $79. It's interesting because these might be more expensive than what people have done in traditional underwriting, but they're not expensive as far as someone having an income and needing insurance. $79 a month or $110 a month. I mean, it's just an option. And, at the end of the day, you guys got a lot of carriers to choose from. But here's the thing, you guys are independent financial advisors. I just don't want you to confuse the word independent thinking that you're alone. Independent just means that you're able to shop an industry, but never think that independent is alone. My job is to help you with this. Let us hold the back of the bike for you today. You just got some bullet points out of this, and remember that some girl was really excited and talked really fast about this. I am here to help you in your decline and hard to insure. And if that's all you remember, is that there's some great options with Humania when these things come up for you, reach out, give us I know where we shine, I know where we don't, but help me help you is basically the lesson there. I just want to make sure that I'm clicking through to make sure you guys get some information on how to reach me. Look at that. We've added all these things for your own social networks and posts. Oh, this is a brand new, they put these little QR codes in there. So if you got your phones and you want to see my QR code, that my information will come up. But if you guys live anywhere in the country, we can get you your appropriate sales director to help you out. For those today, if you want to reach out to me directly, it's Ariana. Right there's my name, how it's spelled, Ariana.Kane at humania.ca. Ariana.Kane@humania.ca, and we can get you some more personalized information and an introduction later. Lisa, was there any questions that we could that you saw?
There's a lot of questions, so I've just asked everybody. There's about 14 or 15, so we don't have time to go through them.
Sure.
So we will send them to you. They do have the advisor's name, so if you, as advisors, if you still have more questions, please put them in the Q&A right now, and we will send them to Ariana, and she'll be able to respond back to you or send it to the person in your area to respond to you. So
we have
lots of questions.
Okay, well, there's one comment here, and I'd just like to address it because it's probably a big one for everybody. He just said, hey, my concern with this easy coverage for normal high-risk cases is what is the rejection on the claim rate? Great question, right? Because we're all like, well, this is why they do the limit. So the thing is, if they were offering a lot, how they mitigate that risk is that's why they only offer a 300,000 coverage, right? They're not going higher than that because they're going to pay these if they fall outside the 12 or 24 month pre-existing clause. You answer those questions honestly, it's outside the 12 or 24 month pre-existing clause. Humania has an amazing claims rate on that. If it falls within those 2 years and they have to order an APS, even if it was outside something they've had, just know that can take a while, but they are going to do the right thing by you. They've been around a long time, but just know that's why they limit the amount, is because they're going to pay this. But it's a great fear and objection to handle for sure.
Perfect. All right, and look at that, right at the bottom of the hour. So you got it all in. So this is great. Thank you so much, Ariana, and thanks to all of you for listening. So we will follow our same process. This session will end. Like I said, we will send Ariana the questions for her to respond to you individually. And we will end this session.
Thanks for including me. Have fun.